Melody Sherry opened up about her experience in that marriage to Martell Holt, but recently she said something that was both shocking and triggering for so many people. She spoke openly about physical abuse, and the way she described it left a lot of fans shaken. And listen, this is not about gossip. This is not about trying to pit one person against the other for entertainment. This is about truth. This is about what happens when abuse is minimized, when it's brushed under the rug, and when producers and cast members decide to look the other way because they think drama will get better ratings. And before you think you know where this is going, hold on, because you need to hear everything, and you need to hear it until the very end. When Melody told that story about being in Vegas, mic'd up, and Martell throwing pillows at her, not in a playful way, but in a way that was meant to provoke, to trigger, to break her down, and then nothing happened. Nobody stepped in, and the footage never even aired that told us everything we needed to know about how abuse can be hidden in plain sight. You see, if a glass is thrown, if voices are raised, if it's something the producers think will get fans talking, they'll play that clip over and over again. But if it's a situation that shows the ugliness of abuse, suddenly it disappears into the editing room. That was not just an accident. That was a choice. And Carlos King, the man behind the show, has to own that choice. Because fans have been saying for years that he loves to see Black women fight, argue, and tear each other down on TV. But what happens when the drama crosses into real-life danger? What happens when a woman says, "I was physically abused," and instead of centering her truth, the production looks the other way? That's where the real problem comes in. And let me pause right here because I need you to hear me. Too many women, especially Black women, have been silenced when it comes to abuse. Too many women have been told to be quiet, to not air dirty laundry, to not upset the image of the man they were with. And too many times, those women have ended up hurt, broken, or worse, killed. This is not just about Melody Sherry. This is about every woman who has been told her story didn't matter. This is about every woman who stayed quiet because she was ashamed or scared of being judged. And if you think I'm exaggerating, stay with me, because the statistics and the history show otherwise. That's why it is so important that you don't click away. You need to see how this all connects. Now let's talk about Martell Holt for a second. Because if we're going to get real, we need to call him out for what he is. This is a man who carried on an affair for years with Ariane Curry while married to Melody, fathered a child outside of his marriage, and then had the nerve to turn around and accuse Melody of supporting another man named Jason. He even went so far as to tell people not to buy her 7th Avenue beauty products, claiming that supporting her business was like supporting an abuser. Now let's stop right there. Do you hear the hypocrisy? Do you see how twisted that is? This is the same man who has been accused of being abusive, the same man who has been dragging Melody publicly, the same man who has harassed her even in a courthouse. And yet he wants to call her the abuser. That is what abusers do. They flip the script. They make the victim out to be the problem. And the fact that he would even go as far as telling people not to support the business that helps feed his own 4 children, the same children he shares with Melody, shows just how cruel and petty he has become. And if you think Martell is doing all of this just to get his truth out, let's be real. Martell has a pattern. Every single time Melody shines too bright, every time she has a moment of success, every time fans start praising her, Martell jumps online with accusations, with shade, with post and delete rants. He's been doing it since the divorce, and this latest drama is just another example. But this time, it went further. This time, he didn't just throw vague shade. He accused her of financially supporting another man and his wife. That's not just messy, that's reckless. And if you don't think that's part of his playbook, wait until I show you how the rest of the cast fits into this and how Carlos King's role makes the whole situation even more disturbing. Because while Martell is spiraling, let's not forget about Ariane Curry. She's been in this cycle too. She'll post a bold caption like, "My man, my man, my man," making sure the world knows she still claims Martell, and then as soon as things get messy, she deletes it. That's her pattern. And this time, she even unfollowed him. And he unfollowed her right back. Now, we all know what that usually means. They're into it behind the scenes. And even though they always end up circling back to each other, this public unfollowing was a signal. It told us all was not well in their camp. But here's where it gets even deeper. It wasn't Melody who first brought up Jason's name. It was Ariane, right there in court. And Martell, instead of letting it go, grabbed it and ran with it, using it to attack Melody online. Melody, on the other hand, has not confirmed or denied anything. She simply acknowledged that Ariane mentioned Jason in court, and that was it. That silence from Melody speaks louder than anything Martell or Ariane could post. Now, while this chaos is happening, what are the other cast members doing? Kimmy Scott is focusing on her health and her marriage to Maurice Scott. She has been fighting her own battles and has chosen peace over pettiness. Maurice is standing beside her, showing support. Letitia Scott and Marceau Scott are busy with family content, their business ventures, and putting on the image of unity. Whether you love them or not, they are out here showing progress. And then you look back at Martell, still stuck in the same cycle, still online tearing down his ex-wife. That contrast is glaring. Fans are saying, why is everyone else moving forward while Martell is repeating the same tired routine? And that question is one you need to hold on to, because by the end of this video, it will all make sense why Martell stays stuck. Now, let's talk about the dogpiling, because this part right here is key. Melody has not only had to deal with Martell, but also with cast members like Nell and Fletcher, who knew more than they let on. They presented themselves as mentors, as supporters. But when it came down to it, they participated in the covering up, the downplaying, and the minimizing of her experience. They knew or had suspicions, and instead of standing by her, they either stayed quiet or piled on. And that is one of the most disgusting parts of this whole thing. Because when a woman is being abused, silence is complicity. When you know something and you do nothing, you are protecting the abuser. And that's what many fans are calling out now. Not just Martell, but the entire system of people around him who let him get away with it. And let's not forget Carlos King in all of this. Martell likes to call Love and Marriage Huntsville his show, as if he created it and runs it. But let's be real. This is Carlos King's show, and the way Carlos has handled these situations has raised a lot of questions. Why would scenes of violence or intimidation not make it to air? But every single argument, every glass throw, every heated moment between women is played on repeat. Fans are saying Carlos is messy, and some even go further, calling him jealous of beautiful black women and determined to create storylines that destroy them. Whether you agree with that or not, the fact is, Melody's abuse claims were not shown, but her conflicts with other women were highlighted again and again. And that speaks volumes. Now stay with me, because this is where everything comes together. Martell is lashing out not because of Jason, not because of business, not because of what Melody says. He is lashing out because he is losing control. He cannot stand the fact that Melody left, that she is thriving without him, that fans support her, that she has receipts to back her claims, and that the narrative is slipping out of his hands. He is scared. Scared of being irrelevant. Scared of being forgotten. Scared that his legacy will be defined not by success, but by abuse, cheating, and failure. And that fear is driving him to act out in ways that only hurt him more. Meanwhile, Melody is moving differently. She is focused on her businesses, raising her children, and pulling out actual receipts. She's not hiding, she's not silent, and she's not letting Martell's version be the only version.